Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Oston back again with another tutorial. So as I promised, I will be showing you how you can use the news API and retrieve some news on your web page, web application, so anything that you'll be developing. And I made a simple post on YouTube asking you guys what we can use for you to easily understand this tutorial that I'm going to be making, and a big number suggested that we use jQuery, not vanilla JavaScript. But I will also not let down these guys. I will make sure the next API tutorials that I make, we shall be using vanilla JavaScript, so that you guys will interchange or exchange knowledge. Guys who love jQuery will see how it's done from jQuery and how it's done in vanilla JavaScript. I already have tutorials about this, how you can make Ajax requests using vanilla JavaScript. That's what, but for this tutorial, we are going to go with jQuery as you suggested for you guys to understand easily. That means still what you need to be having is jQuery. So you just go to jquery.com. Let's wait. So make sure you download this jQuery. Are you seeing where my cursor is on this orange dark orange button? So make sure I click this for you to download jQuery and put it in the folder where you're going to be carrying out this simple project with me. Now, secondly, we need the news API where we are going to be making these server requests. So just type in news API. I think it's this one called newsapi.org. That's the URL that they are using, newsapi.org. Before you before you go ahead, you need to get an API key. You can see this blue button, get API key, click that, and you'll be presented to this simple form. Just put in your name, your email, your password, select if you're a business or an individual, but I think right now you're an individual. Just select this, confirm that you're not a robot, agree to their terms and conditions. Then like here, you are like making an agreement, promise to add attribution links on your website or app, anything that you'll be creating. Make sure you give them some credit that use their API. That's enough for that form. It's very very simple. When you complete the registration process, and they will automatically log you in. But here, since I already have an account with them, I'll just type in the email I used when I'm getting this API key. So guys, always email me when you're having some issues, not just sending fake spam emails in my inbox. So my password is also simple. It's called YouTube. That's it. So try it out. Click login, and you'll be presented to your home page. So this is a profile page. They'll show you your email. You can always update it, change its password. This is now the important thing we need, the API key. You can regenerate, but I'm taking this as my API key. You can always log out. Are you seeing in the upper right hand corner? You can always log out. So when you're presented to this page, just click back home. So we are back home. They will show you the different APIs you can make requests to. We have all articles about Bitcoin from the last month, sorted by recent first. You can click this chevron right icon so that you slide. And this is the API we are going to be working with. Top business headlines in the US right now, but still there are more. You can work with this. Articles mentioning Apple from yesterday. Click that chevron. You can see there are very, very many, not very many, but some of the APIs you can work with. They give you that basic knowledge on how you can deal with an API and retrieve data from that site and display it in your project that you'll be creating working with any type of API. So basically, I guess you already have an account with this API and you have gotten the key. So the moment you're logged in, they will show you your email here and prefix your API on the URL that you'll be using. So this is the API key that we need. That's enough. Now, I noticed that in the previous tutorial, I was doing a lot of designing than what has brought guys to watch. So in this tutorial, I already designed some simple interface But before I talk even about this interface, I would like to show you the live example on how we are going to be building this thing. So here it's a simple search engine that I created that is picking news from that API. So the user will come and put like Amazon and click submit or place enter on your keyboard. So we shall have that simple preloader as we are waiting for server response. You can see there is null. That means this API or this data we have got back is missing some information. So it's the problem with their API, not ours. So what for us we are fetching is the title, the image, the content, its source, date published, and the link of reading more. So I'll also maybe in the future tutorials, see when you click this read more, I'm not going to click for copyright issues because we may bump into ads. So when you click this read more link, it will take you to the other website which published this news. But we can also put up a function that will contain this news within our web application so that when you click here, we go to another view displaying the full article, but when they are still on our website or web application, anything you'll be creating. So let me first put in case I'm going to put a fake term that is not there in the API. I hope so. Let me put my name Oston. I think there is nothing like that. And this is what they will display to the user. This news isn't a variable. Sorry about that. Try searching for something else. So those are different events that we are handling. When there is news, show this. When there is no, show this to the user. When an error occurs, show this to the user. So there are different things that I'm going to be showing you in this simple tutorial. So what you need to be having is the search box where the user will be putting in the value and the search button. So don't mind about the surrounding interface. It's just a design. But by the time you watch this tutorial, the code will be ready. In case you want to work with the same interface, I'm going to leave all the links in the description where you're going to be downloading this small interface that you're seeing, simple small interface. So as I said, you need to be having jQuery. I showed you how you can get that. Then you need to be, yeah, only jQuery because the rest is just designing. I'm going to leave those pages open, close this channel tab, and I left out some simple markup for you guys to follow along because they are the important parts that we are going to be working with. As you saw here, when the user makes a request to the server, you can see we get that simple preloader. You saw it. Now we are going to create a div here, a div, and I'm going to give it an ID of loader. So that's where the loader is going to be. Now inside this loader, I'm going to put that preloader you see. And all these stylings, by the way, I forgot to show you one thing. I'm going to first put this class progress and put another div that is going to be having the preloader that you're seeing, and the class is indeterminate. Refresh the page and you will see that simple preloader there. And I forgot to tell you, this design that you're seeing here is made possible using this simple front end based framework. Sorry, it's a modern responsive front end framework based on material design. So it's what I used, as you can see here, and I'm using one of their simple preloaders. So they have nice preloaders. We have the indeterminate is the one I'm using right now. They are also circular preloaders that you can use. But for this tutorial, I decided to go with this one with a simple markup. So these are the classes I used. But in case you're not having this framework and you don't want to work with it, there are simple GIF preloader generators. There is some website called ajaxload.info. So when you reach this website, come here and select the type of preloader you need. So you can see there are different ones. Let's say choose that one, click generate, and they will display it here. When it's displayed here, just click download and make sure it's the image or the simple image or GIF image you refer to it inside this div with the ID of loader. But right now, I'm going to go with this preloader from Materialize CSS framework. So it's this one, but we don't want it to be visible before the user takes action on our page. That means we need to hide it from the user. We shall just add a simple inline styling here. We say style, and the property is display, the value which is none. So we want to display to none from the user before them taking action. As you can see, it's hidden. The user won't be able to see it. So what you need to be having is the search place where the user will be entering data, and the search button. Even if you don't design, make sure you'll be having this. So let me take you through the simple markup that was remaining. Then lastly, we create a div where the news will appear. As you saw here in the example, when you search, let's put back, let's just put the first price and see if there is news about so this area or this article has the first price or prices. So you can see they are displayed below here. So that means even as when we show the preloader, then the news will be displayed also down here. So we shall create a div there and give it an ID of news results. So IDs are user defined. You can call it anything you want. Don't worry about this. Then there are extra divs that I will add, but as we go on, because I want to take you step by step. So this is the simple remaining markup that was remaining. So it's important. It was important for me to show you guys than coming in this tutorial when I've done all this and you don't know what they do. So it's the form that I created already and the simple H3 there. So we created the input field, which is this one where you're seeing me highlighting, and I gave it the ID of search query. As I said, IDs are user defined. You can call it anything you want. So for me, I named mine search query. Then I created a search button here and I gave it an ID of search BTN. As you can see, that's the simple markup that you need to be having: the search input and the search button. That's what you need to be having. Don't mind about the designing on the page. The choice is yours. What you need to be having, as you can see, we already have a lot of markup here. So I'm not going to add extra JavaScript below here for me to always scroll up to see the IDs that I used. So I'm just going to place a simple script tag here, give it a source attribute, and I'm going to call it news API.js. So we are going to create a separate file where we're going to be communicating to the API and we display that data in our website. So I'm going to copy this, create a new file, Control S on your keyboard to save. Then let me navigate to that file, that folder. So this is the folder. I'm having Jquery. I already downloaded it. Don't mind about this. Jquery and the index.html. So I'm going to save the other file that we created, newsapi.js, meaning now this file is already linked to this file. So we don't need to put our Jquery code on the same page. We have separated and put it in a different file. Let me just change the color font. I think this is better for my eyes right now. So as you can see, these are the JavaScript files that I linked: Jquery, which is this, and the news API JS. These are the two important files that we need right now. The rest are just for designing. So we're having Jquery and the news API.js. You forgive me for that. I just lagged out. I was still handling something here small. So we are going to create a simple event that will listen for the document load. So we shall say document.ready. So this is jQuery function. We put in the callback function and we end it. So what this statement means that the browser should not run or the document should not run anything inside this script before the document is ready. So anything that will be inside here will always be ran when the document is ready. So this is what the statement means. Now what we want to listen to before, we want to listen for a click on this button. So we want to get that news from the API when the user clicks this button. So we need to listen for a click event on that button. So we are going to target that button by referencing to this, to its ID. Remember here, this search button has the ID of search btn. So anything that you called it, make sure you reference it to this use api.js file. So since it's an ID, we just say hash search button, and we append or add an event to it, which is on click. So when the user clicks it, that's the type of event we want. Then we set a callback function, what happens when the user clicks. So right now here we have put a click, we have added an event which is a click event on that button. When the user clicks it, that's when you want to run this code inside here. What you're going to do first is get the value what the user now has put in this input field, and also prevent the default behavior. Let us first work with the default behavior. You can see when I click this button search, you can see how the page loads or reloads. So we want to prevent this default behavior from refreshing the page. So to do that, we are going to come here and say here on the click, we pass in the perimeter e, and we shall say e dot prevent default. So default. So what we are doing, we are preventing the default behavior of a form reloading. We don't want the user to see this page reloading. We want to fetch that data asynchronously without reloading the page. So when I refresh this page and I click this search button, you can see I'm clicking it, but nothing is reloading. So it is going to be doing this asynchronously without the user noticing anything on the page. So we have prevented that default behavior of a page. So what now we are going to do is get what the user has put in this input field. So when I put Oston, we want to get this value what the user has put inside here. So I'm just going to create a variable here called query. So still user defined. This is a variable. You can call it anything you want. I've just called mine query, and I want to get it from this input field. So remember this input field, I gave it an ID of search query. So here I'll just say hash search query. Then I want to get the value from that input field. I say dot val, the val function. So right now I have access to what the user is going to be putting in that input field. So when they put in Oston, Oston is going to be stored in this variable query. I guess you're not lost. When they put in anything Amazon, Amazon is going to be stored in this variable query. So later on when we need Amazon, we just call the variable query, and we get what is stored inside that variable. So I'm going to create another variable called URL, and this is when we are going to start now working with the API. So in our API, as I said, we are going to be working with these top business headlines in the US right now. So what you're going to do is carry this URL that you're seeing here, go back to our code and paste it inside there. So this is the URL that we are going to be making requests to, but we don't want to fetch back all the news, all the news from this API. We need to get back what the users put in here. So when you come and put in Amazon, you want to fetch back queries or news about Amazon. When you put in prices, we need the API to give us articles with the phrase of prices. So to do that, using this variable we created, remember here we are saying that whatever the person puts in that input field is stored inside this variable query. So you can see right after headlines, you see here where there is the question mark, just put q, letter q. So just for query, because it's a query that we are going to be getting, or the search, you can call it anything. You can say search query, but I'm just going to put q and assign it to, just put there the double quotes. So we are trying to concatenate or combine, add on this query variable to this URL, and I'm going to put there the word, I'm just going to put a plus symbol. I want to concatenate this variable we created here and write query plus, then lastly double quotes. So guys, and put an ampersand symbol here because we are separating this statement. Country equals US and category equals business. So here what we are doing, we are making a request to this URL, and we are passing in the query that we want to get from that URL. Let me show you. Let me first console.log, and I'm going to console this variable URL here. So what we are doing, when we get the, let's say the user puts in Oston, Oston is going to be stored in this variable, and here we shall get this URL, and they say q equals Oston. Let me show you that. So when you're on Windows, just press F12 to bring up the developer tool. I'm using a Chromebook right now. I'm just going to press Ctrl Shift I for me to see this console. So when the user puts in a word here, let's say Austin code, and click search, you can see they are consoling this URL, and we have appended the value to this URL. You can see Austin code. Let me zoom in for you guys to see properly. You can see Oston code. So we are getting what the users put in here, and we append it to the URL, and we make a request depending on this query that we have passed in. So the URL will go and look for any article having this phrase Oston code, and they retrieve it back to the user. You can see how it's very easy to create a simple search engine. We get what the users put in, we go look into our servers what's there, and we bring back to the user. If there is news, we bring back. When there is no, we show the message to the user. So that means now we have access to what the users put in, and we can pass it as a perimeter, and we communicate to that API. As I said, we have to always check for possible errors that may happen. So the user may come to the page and just click this search button, and we make just a useless, you can see, a useless API request. So what we are going to do is create a condition here. If this query, this variable query we created, is not equal to nothing, so not equal, that means there is something, it's not equal to nothing, then we are going to run the code inside. Else, if he has not clicked that, or if the query is empty, we are just going to console.log for now. I'll show you how we can display message to that. Then I'm just going to say, please enter something. So we are checking if there is something here, then we do that. Refresh. So when the user comes here and tries to click the search button without doing anything, let me first clear that. Tries to click search, they are going to say please enter something. So he will have to first put in here some data and search. You can see here now they are giving back nothing to him, but the moment he removes and tries to click here, they'll say please enter something. So the program has ran and saw that there's nothing. Let us show the user this. You can see how it is very easy. I'll show you how to output these messages in the browser very soon. So right now here we can make now the server or Ajax requests to this API. To do that, we just say $sign dot Ajax. We pass in an object, these two curly braces, put a semicolon there. So right now these are keywords or key terms that you need to write when you're making an Ajax request. First of all, you have to specify the URL where you want to get the data. You get me? Now remember, we already created a variable called URL here. So if we had not yet created this URL variable, we'll now carry this long statement and paste it here. But since we created a variable, that means this variable URL is calling this value. So we shall just come here and say URL. So this is the URL that we are making. Oh, it's a comma. So this is the URL that we are making a request to. So we say URL, it's the key term that you need to use in Ajax. Then you put the URL where you want to get the data from. Then secondly, the method that we want to use when we are getting this data, it's the get. Oh, sorry. So it's a get method. So we come here and put get, and we also specify the type of data that we are getting back from this API, which is JSON. You can see here, if you go to that API and look at the format, this is JSON data that we are going to be getting back from the server. So here we also specify the type of data that we are getting from the server. Very, very simple. Now let us work on what is going to be displayed in the interface when we are retrieving data back from the server. So as you can see in this simple example, when I put Amazon and press enter or submit, you see that preloader that is displayed to the user. So here we are just waiting for the server response before send, and we are going to make it that possible here by putting this function before send, put in a callback function. So what we are doing before send, then we want to show the preloader to the user. Remember here, we created a simple div, which is this, and we gave it an ID of loader. So that means whatever is inside here is right now hidden, but before we make the server request, or before the server brings back data to us, we need to show that this preloader to give back some feedback to the user that something is going on, please wait. So we shall come here and we target that area by doing hash loader. So this is the div that is containing that loader. You can see the load is inside, and we are displaying it to none. It's not visible to the user at the moment. So here we shall say dot show. So before they send the request to the API servers, we show this loader. You can see how it is very, very simple when you're using jQuery, but it will also be simple when you're using vanilla JavaScript. So before send, we show that preloader as we are waiting for the server response. Then when everything is complete, then we put in this callback function. So when everything is complete, that means we don't need this loader to be shown on the page. We need to hide it again. So we shall come here and say loader.hide. You can see how it is very, very simple. So here, before us making the request to the server, we shall display that preloader to the user giving feedback. The user will know that they are processing his or her request. And when the request is done, we run this complete function. Then we also now look at the success function. When everything is successful and we have gotten back the data, this is what will be ran. So when everything is got from the API, let me pass in this perimeter data, and for now I'm just going to do a console.log and reset data. So this is also user defined. You can call it news since we are working with news. You see, so don't it's not comparison that you need to be using that. So it can be anything. It's just a perimeter that you defined as a developer. So when we get back from when we get data back from the servers, we shall run this success function. In case anything wrong happens, so in case anything wrong happens, then we shall run this error function. And for now, I'll just say console.log error. So I'll just put this is just a word that I have come up with. You can say anything, that you can display any feedback you want to the user. So right now, let us go back to our project and let us put a simple phase. Let me just put our capital city, Kampala. So I have left this console open so that in case we get any error, I can easily come back and debug. So let us click this. See, when we click, now we are making a request. You can see that payloader. So if you use the other GIF, it will be rotating. So right now we are making server requests to that API, a request to that API. So right now it is waiting or processing the request. So you can see right now they have run the success function. You can see here. That means they are consoling out the news that we have gotten back from the server. But as I said, there is no such term like Kampala on that US API. So here they are showing you the status is okay. We got back the information, but the total results, there is zero. We got nothing from the API. So here we can display a message to the user that this news isn't available at the moment. Please try searching for something else in the browser. You can see how it is very, very easy. Now let us go and loop through this API and we retrieve back data to the browser. So inside this success function, it's the one we are going to concentrate on a lot, the success function. I'm going to create a variable called output and I'm going to assign it to nothing. So leave it empty for now. Then I'm also going to create a variable. As I say, these are user defined. You can call it them anything you want. So I'm going to create a variable called news. Let me call it latest news. Latest news. So these are user defined. And we are going to say news, this perimeter that we passed in, dot articles. So let me explain this statement here, what you're seeing here. If you go back to the API, are you seeing our API? This is the API we are making requests to. So it has an array called articles. So this is the array that we are following. Leave out these two phases. We are having this array articles that is holding the news that we want to get back from that API. So here what I have done is get the data, because in the browser you saw we are getting back some data. So that means we have access to this perimeter that we passed in news. So what we are doing, we are creating a variable called latest news and we say news dot articles. So this is the array that is on the server, this array name articles. So what we are doing, we are saying news dot articles. That means we have access to that array and we have stored every detail in this variable we have created here. So it's time to look through that array because it's already now stored in this variable we created. I'm just going to create a variable called for var I in latest news. So this is not composer that you have to use I. You can use X, Z, but I've decided to go with I. Put the curly braces, and what you are going to do, are you seeing this variable we created up here? Because we assigned it to nothing. We are going to come here and append data to it. We say plus equals. Then we are going to use the backticks. Backticks are some small icons, not are they icons or symbols near number one on the keyboard? So those are the backticks. Let me first zoom in a little bit. They will look like this, backticks. And the reason why I'm using these backticks, we are going to easily write our HTML in this simple this jQuery script without using concatenation. So if we never use this, we would be forced to put this concatenation plus symbols, then we write what, then plus. So I don't want to stress you guys when you're new to this such kind of projects or programs. So we are going to use these backticks so we can write any kind of HTML inside here. So we can write anything, any kind of HTML, so long as we use these backticks. Very, very simple. So let me go to the other simple project that we did. Are you seeing here what we are putting out is the title, the image, the description or content, the source, the date when it was published, and the read more link or button that we are going to be creating. So that means also, as when we are making the request to this server, we are first going to get the title, we get the image, which is this, then we get the description, we get the content, the published art date, and maybe we can also get the author. You can see at times they are null, meaning they are missing. So this is the simple API request that we are going to be making. So first, as I said, we are going to be displaying the title. So I'm going to put the title in H4, and I'm going to, since we use the backticks, we are going to use this logic or phrase. We say dollar sign, this method dollar sign, then curly braces, then you write the name of the variable that you are looping through. So this is the article. Now the article array is stored now in this variable we created, and we want to iterate through or loop through this I. So here we can say dot title, and title is the key word that is stored this side in the API. You can see title. So what I'm doing is article dot title. So to get this title, it's what we are doing here. Remember, we stored now this article data inside this variable. So here I will just say latest news, then this square brackets I dot title. So here we are going to get every article that has that title. Here, then we are going to place an image right below the title, as you can see in the example. After the title, the image, and here to access the image, it is stored in this keyword or name of URL to image. And here it's very, very simple. We just put that image tag, we put the source attribute, and we are going to say dollar sign curly brackets. Then we get this array that we are looping through, latest news square brackets I, and we say dot this keyword that you're seeing this side, the API URL to image, and I'm just going to copy it. So URL to image. Let's remove this URL to image. Right now we have access to the image also. Then we need to also get the description of that article that we are going to be fetching. So here I'll just say paragraph. It's going to be in a paragraph. You cross that paragraph. Then here I'll just say dollar curly brace. Then latest news square brackets I. We said dot description. So this is what we are getting. Description. I spelled it wrong. All right. So it's right. So from the description, then we need also to get the content of that article. Still, I will use the paragraph. You can see how it is very, very simple because we already have access to this array. Then we are accessing its properties or values. So here we just say content. Are you seeing? It's very, very easy. Then lastly, or the second last, we get when it was published. And here I'm just going to also put a simple paragraph, just that I'm going to just put a phrase like published, published on, then these full colons, then I place our dollar sign curly braces, latest news, square brackets, the array we are roping through, then published at, I think it's the keyword we need to use here. And I'm just going to copy this. Oh, let me just write it. It has failed to copy. So published at, if I, yeah, published at, and lastly we put a link of read more as you normally write your links. So I'm just going to put the dollar sign, then latest news dot, oh, square brackets, I dot, then the URL, which is here, where you can click and go to the site that is hosting that news, which is having the key name or property of URL. So when everything is okay, then we are going to display the news in the browser here. And remember, we gave this area where the news is going to be appearing the ID of news results. But before that, in case there is no news, we need to handle that also event. When somebody puts in like Kampala, as we have seen here, they will get back nothing. Let me first put here a phrase that will be having news. Let's say Amazon, then search shall get this preloader before send. So they are sending the request to the API, and you can see we are having the status okay. So that means we are inside this success function, this one, and they are saying everything is okay. We have got back the total result 3. So that means there are 3 articles that have surfaced back with this keyword Amazon, and they are showing you the array that is having 3 objects. You can see articles 3, and as you can see, the reason why you're using this for in loop for var I in latest news, so it counts these indexes 0, 1, 2. So it's going on counting the number of articles that are going to be coming back. When I put price and I click search before send, so we have got back one article with the term price. You can see how it is very, very simple. So guys, it's time to stop consoling our data in the browser, in the console, and display it in the browser. Let me close this because that is done. Now we need to display the data in the browser. But before that, as I said, in case somebody searches for a term that is not there, like my capital city Kampala, and click search here before send, so there is nothing that has come back, we need to display some message to the user. And to do that, we are going to go right after our loop. I think it's here, and I'm going to say if this output, I'm first going to check when there is data. If it's not equal to nothing, so that means there is. If it's not equal to nothing, there is data. Then else, when there is no data, we are going to display something in the browser. So remember here, so remember, you forgive me for the noise in the background. Remember, we gave this place an ID of news results. So we are going to come here and we say, we target that area with the ID of news results. Shall say hash news results dot HTML. We want to display this data in the HTML, and since there is no news that is going to be a variable on the page, first of all, I'm just going to put this simple message. There is there is no news for now. This is what I'm going to put in the browser. So when I come here and search again, refresh, sorry. So when we do this Kampala, I'm putting this because I know there is nothing. So there is no news. You can see now we have gotten no data, and this is what they are displaying to the user. So we are going to do like this. I don't want to put inside these phases here. I'm just going to create a variable, and I will say, let's say news news not found. So these are just user defined. I'm failing to get what to use. So this is the variable that I've created, and I'm just going to go and get the other phase that we used this side. I'm just going to put Kampala, and they are going to say there is no news variable. So I'm going to put this same phase here. Then in case I want to use it, I don't have to write this all phase inside here HTML. So I'll just put this variable that is storing that value and put it here. So if I refresh and go to our project that we created, when we put this search, there is no, this news isn't a variable, so stuff like that. We are going to make it big, style it, and do the rest. So right now, when everything is okay, then we need to display this data in the browser. And to do that, we're just going to do $sign as we did here. We just target that area, news. So the place is like dynamic. When there is, it's going to be filled with data. When there is no, it's going to do something. So with HTML, we are just going to be outputting this variable that is we appended data to, which is output. So when there is data, we are going to get that and display to the user. So let us go on our page, refresh. Let us search for Amazon. Search. We must get data for Amazon here. You can see, as I said, some pages or some articles may come back when they have null data, or when there is no data. You can see we are getting the title, the image, the description, content, published on. Then for read more, let me also put a simple phrase here on the link. Oh, sorry, not on the in the middle. What did I do? Sorry, we made a mistake here. Since it's an anchor tag, we need to put this phrase inside the href, the hyperreference. So it's what the user will, it's the URL that will be toggled, or yeah, toggled when the user clicks the link. So just put here read more. Read more. I can even add classes to it. See the importance of using these backticks. We just put HTML inside here without using the other plus symbols. I'm just going to say btn since I'm working with the other framework. So right now, if I'm to put Amazon still here before send, we make that. You can see now it's a button, read more. Now I don't want to display news in this format. I want it to be in grids. Let's say 2 grids on each line. So what I'm going to do, since I'm working with this framework, they have what they call the grid system. If you have worked with Bootstrap, it's going to be the same logic. So what I'm going to do is cross this div here, and I'm going to create a class here of call. So this is a column that I'm creating. Then on large screen, I want it to take 6 columns. On medium screens, 6 columns. Then on small screens, which will be the mobile devices, I want it to take 12 columns. Then lastly, remember what I told you that I'm going to add in the markup. We are going to create a simple div here. and I'm going to give it a class of row, and I'm going to put the results inside here. So our news is going to sit in between this div with a class of row. Remember, the data is going to come back when it's having the other classes of call. So let me show you what I'm trying to say. Let us refresh here. When we put again, let's say Amazon, because it has a lot of data, search, you can see now it is displayed in columns. Very, very easy to work with. Very, very easy. So guys, that's it for this tutorial. If the tutorial was, oh, sorry, I promise you that we are going to design the other messages. Sorry for that, guys. I'm kinda summing up. Let's say price. When we search for price, so it's searching. So this is what we are having back. We need also to control the size of images, and to do that, I was leaving out big issues. So we are just going to add this class. It is for materialize. So you can also style yours, give them width of 100% so that they fit in their parent container. But here I'll just say responsive responsive dash img. If I'm to refresh this page and we search for again price because it had the big image, now you can see it's now, yeah, aligning with its content. So this is what they have gotten back. We have the title, image, description, content, when it was published. So there is still more information that you can get from this API, but for this tutorial I just wanted to show you how we can make a simple API request, and we get back the data. You can see, very, very simple. Now let us work on these error messages. So this news isn't available at the moment. So to do that, we just go back to the areas where they are found. So let's say this, I'm just going to put it in a div. Oh, let me see. So we just create a div and we append this. Oh, sorry, need to do this div. Then we do plus. The same applies here. Div. Here we just put style. I'm going to say font size. Let me say 40 pixels and text align to center. Let us go and see. If we refresh this browser and we put Kampala, so right now it's on the other face before send. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now it's the internet slowing down. I don't know why. So it's taking too long to make server requests. Oh, You know what, we are going to use toasts because that one is taking too long. So here, instead of outputting this message, I'm just going to use the materialized toasts. So this framework that I'm using, it's going to be an object, and here I will just put HTML, and I'm just going to put this phrase inside there. News isn't a variable, then comma and classes, so it is an error. I just put it in color red. Then that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the errors. So put this here, and I say please enter something, also that will be red. In case we get an error, I'll just say we encountered an error, please try again. So in case an error happens, I'm going to show you how all these things work. In case we get back some data, so this one will be green, so success, and shall say there you go, nice reading. So these are my custom messages that I'm creating. So in case we get back news, we must see there you go, nice reading. You can see the toast we are getting here. There you go, nice reading. So let's say there is no that term that we are looking for. Instead of putting message here, I'm just going to put Kampala, and you see there isn't. You can see what they are displaying here. But in case I wanted it to be displayed here, I can also put it here. So the news isn't a variable. I can put I removed it last time because let me copy this same statement so that we change the state of that area. So I'm not going to design everything, you forgive me. So the good thing, I have given you the basic knowledge on how you can play around with an API and get data from it. You can see this news isn't a variable available, then also they display it here. When there is, then everything will be okay. Let's say price, and there you go, nice reading, and they display the news to you. So guys, that's it for this tutorial. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it on different social medias, and I'll be seeing you in the next tutorials. Peace.